Welcome to Paranormal Champagne. I'm your host, Kirsten Langston. If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us along at our sister channel, Kirsten Langston Third Eye Champagne. You can get more content like this at thirdeyechampagne.com. Our first story comes from B. About 10 years ago, I was with a friend in downtown Sacramento, and it was a nice spring day, so we decided to take a walk around some of the cool old houses on H Street. My friend is a self-described murderino and used to work at a bookstore, so she read a lot about crime. She also legit talks to dead people, even when she doesn't want to. So when we passed one particularly nice house, she said it was a rather famous house that people say is haunted. I asked her, since she's the one who talks to dead people, if she got any vibes from the house. She said, "I want to know what you get from it before I say anything." The house was super calm, no cars driving around. I think it was a quiet Sunday afternoon. I peered around the property because I didn't want to disturb anyone if there were people living there, and I didn't want anyone running out and yelling at us. There was no one around, no cars in the driveway and no light on in the house that we could see. We walked from the front of the house to the side street, and I kept being drawn to what looked like a basement window. Most of the houses of this era had basements. I told Kelly, something really bad happened in that basement. I don't know what, but it feels really dark. She replied that yes, she had read that something very bad happened in the basement. The house, she said, used to be owned by a doctor who killed his family, right down to the pets. Subsequent owners reported seeing apparitions and hearing noises. The property had a wrought iron fence all the way around it, and I wanted to get the best look at the window I could. So I put my hand on the fence and leaned forward. It's an extremely solid fence, and I checked before I touched it to make sure there were no wires. I didn't want to get electrocuted. Within a second or two, the fence started to vibrate, and then, I don't know how to describe this, but it violently pushed me backwards, effectively removing my hand from the fence. At the same time, a cat, a real cat, appeared out of seemingly nowhere, right where we were standing, and pushed their way through the fence. Startled, I explained to my friend what I felt and why I backed away from the fence. Throwing my arm in the air, we both looked down, and suddenly, the cat was gone. This story was in reference to the Martinez murder house in Sacramento. Links are below if you want to investigate further. Our next story comes to us from viewer L. I have a story that still haunts me today. This happened in 2005. I moved in with my boyfriend. One day, I was in the kitchen cooking dinner. I glanced toward the living room and saw a silhouette figure of a man holding a suitcase. He opened the door and walked out, then slammed the door. The sound of the slammed door echoed in my ear. 2 months later, my boyfriend moved out while I was at work. I haven't seen him, and I hope I never see him again, ever, in life. Our next story comes from listener D. Decades ago, I was visiting a friend one evening who had a bed and breakfast in downtown Dallas. It was a cold, rainy November night. A few hours into my visit, a voice on the left side of my head said very clearly, "It's raining inside your car. Go down there and check on it." "BS," was my reply. "That doesn't make any sense." My logical brain couldn't wrap my head around how it could be raining in my car. The voice was persistent. It came back a third time, this time yelling, "It's raining inside your car. Go down there." Fine. What the heck? So I went down to the parking lot, and there was my little car with a smashed window, and it was indeed raining inside my car. My first thought was, my intuition was trying to tell me, and I wasn't listening because it wasn't logical. My second thought was, someone broke into my car. Then I went into gratitude. Well, at least they didn't steal my car and I can drive it home, and I have insurance that will cover the window replacement and the few things that were stolen. What's weird to me is this was the only time I heard a voice inside my head. My intuition is usually through knowing, not hearing, but the voice knew I needed to get my attention. It was pretty insistent that I take care of my car. Our next story comes from viewer Jay. You're probably going to find this hard to believe, but I swear it's true. I used to get so bored back in high school, in the last class of the day. I would daydream, look out the window. One day I thought, wouldn't it be great if I could speed up time? I just want to get out of this class. I began to stare insistently at the clock over the teacher's head. I stared and stared. And then it almost seemed like I lost consciousness for just a minute. But the next thing I knew, the bell was ringing and the class was over. But I know I didn't sit in a full class. I couldn't have. The next day, I decided to try it again. I sat in the class, and after about 10 minutes, I stared at the clock, continued to stare at the clock, thinking about how badly I wanted to speed up time for the bell to ring to get out of class. Once again, the clock seemed to speed up. The bell rang, and we all left class. Some of my friends started commenting about how the class didn't seem that long the last 2 times. And I thought, it's not just me. There's something else going on here. I excitedly told my friends I thought maybe I was speeding up time, or at least making the bells ring early. My friends scoffed and said, if that's the case, do it again tomorrow. So the next day I went to class, started focusing on the clock, and within minutes the bell was ringing. I looked at my friends and their mouths were hanging open, and I knew then it wasn't just me. They had experienced it too. Time wasn't moving like it normally did, and somehow I was making it move faster. You would think I'd keep doing it day after day in order to speed up the class, but I actually lost interest after a day or so. And yet every once in a while, my friends would come up to me and say, "Oh, can't you speed up the class today? We really want to get out of here early." And I would do it, and it would work. Those are our stories for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hop on over to our sister channel, Kirsten Langston Third Eye Champagne. Give us a subscribe. And if you want more content like this, you can find it at thirdeyechampagne.com. If you have a story you'd like to submit, please do so at kirstenlangstonauthor@gmail.com and put paranormal story in the topic line. We're taking everything: near-death experiences, ghost stories, aliens, strange dreams, prophetic dreams. If it's weird, we want it.